What I think is interesting, right? And I don't want to go too deep in this, but you talk a lot about, there are 9 to 10 passions that any consumer could have, right? And I think that how you market and how you create experiential marketing is really important there, right? And so, when you think about branding in sound, when you think about branding in symbol, when you think about branding, in even its more traditional ways, you're shaping the culture of communities. You're shaping the culture of countries. I mean, these trillions of marketing dollars that are being spent are shaping that culture, right? So that creates a massive responsibility on marketers everywhere. So how does data ensure that you're actually taking a genuine purpose-driven approach?
I think this is probably a very, very important question that all marketers have to grapple with day in and day out, right? As much as data gives you a lot of power, it comes with responsibility. The way I look at it is, first and foremost, you have to put yourself in the shoes of a consumer, a normal human being. As a normal human being who is not a data expert, are you able to understand all the terms and conditions that are thrown in front of you? Are you aware as a normal consumer, normal human being, as to the rights you are giving up for your data? Are you as a normal person comfortable with where your data is being used, how it is being used, and how you would like it to be used? Now, once you, as a normal human being, say that this is how it should be used, this is how I would like to be treated in the context of data, then put on your CMO hat or a marketer's hat and exactly do that to the consumers. Meaning treat them like you like to be treated by yourself. Okay. And from that perspective, I think there is a lot that marketers have to do. It's not just about only collecting data, storing data, and using data, but also data security. So there is privacy and there is security. Privacy is privacy. I think Tim Cook probably has said it beautifully when he said privacy is a human right. And I totally subscribe to that, right? You deserve the privacy that you want and you control it. You decide who you want to give permission and for what. And you want to be having complete freedom to revoke it when you want, etc. That's privacy side. Then data security is that if somebody is collecting my data, they better take a good care of the data and keep it safe so that it doesn't get compromised and my data is not floating all over the place that I don't want it to and stuff like that. So marketers have to take responsibility. If they are collecting data, call it first party data, whatever party data, you have to make sure that it's absolutely, absolutely safe and well protected with all kinds of contingencies. So whether it is multi-layered distribution or you're talking about multiple layers of codification or encrypting and all these good things, or how you store them and what kind of vendors you deploy and what standards you impose on those vendors. Because if you are collecting data on behalf of your consumers and you are storing it somewhere else with your vendors, and if the vendor systems get compromised, you cannot wash your hands off and say, that's their problem, it's not my problem. No, it is your problem. You are accountable to the consumers because you're the one who is collecting the data, right? So across the entire supply chain, marketers have to be on top of it. Now, sadly, what happens is many of the marketers typically are not from the quantitative side of the house. They may not necessarily understand data enough. And I think the time is now for them to educate themselves. Ignorance is not an excuse, right? They cannot abdicate it and give it away to some third-party vendors or give it away to their IT colleagues and say, these guys will manage it. No, you better know, you understand. Because if you're collecting, you're using that data, you better know how to handle the data. So I would say that's how I would look at it, and because data is going to be even more critical in future because the fragmentation is only going to proliferate. Okay, and you have to really be able to target at the right time, in the right context. You have to be able to measure in real time. You have to be able to optimize in real time. All that requires an appreciation and understanding of data on the one hand. And on the other hand, with technologies like AI coming in, that's going to be a game changer. The analytical capabilities that AI has got will take you to a totally different dimension. And I'm already seeing it, right? At MasterCard, we bought 2 AI companies. And I say, wow, this is something which is unbelievable, the level of analysis that they can do and how rapidly they can do in a matter of few minutes and seconds. So in that kind of a scenario, marketers have to educate themselves on data, on AI, in a big way. And that's going to be very important.
Raj, I think that's a perfect segue. I know I have already pre-ordered your new book. I did it on Amazon.com.
Thank you.
Quantum Marketing. So as a marketer, I cannot wait to read it. I think what you just shared about how data is so heavily involved into marketing. The large majority of the readers and subscribers, at CDO Magazine, they work in their technical teams, right? On their companies. So what can they learn from reading Quantum Marketing?
Yeah. See, I think, quantum marketing essentially is to marketing what quantum physics is to the world of physics. And I'll tell you what I mean. Physics is nothing but the science of understanding the physical environment, the physical world around you, how things work. And there are various laws like laws of gravity, laws of electricity, laws of magnetism, and so on. And once you understand how things work, then you can use them appropriately. That's what physics is. But when mankind discovered outer space or subatomic particles, or when the speed of things have started accelerating pretty dramatically, they found out that classical physics fails. It cannot explain the phenomena in these new worlds. And therefore, there was the birth of a new field of physics called quantum physics, and which forms a lot of the basis for how we learn and how we deploy science, the science of physics today. In exactly the same way, marketing is going to dramatically change. It is already changing. It's going to change in an unprecedented manner just in the imminent future, which I call the fifth paradigm. So every time there was a bunch of new technologies coming, typically a couple of technologies, marketing went through a radical reinvention. In the olden days, which I call first paradigm, marketing was all about product marketing. I have got the best product available at the right value, people will come and buy. But when psychology was discovered, the joys of psychology, sociology, and anthropology by marketers, and television and radio came about as two disrupting technologies, marketing went from paradigm 1 to paradigm 2, which was all about emotional marketing, even to the exclusion of products. You don't have to talk anything about the product, but you can be wildly successful in winning consumers' hearts and minds. And MasterCard is a classical example with our priceless campaign. Then paradigm 3 came with two things: the democratization of data analytics and the birth of the internet. Marketing went into the third paradigm, that was the birth of digital marketing. Then, with the advent in 2007, both of iPhone on the one hand and of Facebook on the other hand, so social media was born and mobile devices were born, and the combination of these two, marketing has to reinvent, and that was the fourth paradigm, which led to mobile marketing in a big way and social marketing in a big way. Each one of these paradigms had two changes. Now we are at the verge of a huge disruption that is being enabled by more than a dozen technologies, not two, but dozen. You got AI, you got VR, you got AR, you got wearables, you got autonomous driving vehicles, 5G, 3D printing, robotics. It's absolutely amazing. 12 technologies at least are coming at us. And that is going to shake up marketing completely. Already, I can tell you, a number of classical frameworks and strategies of marketing and concepts of marketing are failing today as we speak, right? Advertising is not working the way it used to work. And I keep saying advertising, as we know, is dead. I'm being provocative, but with the right basis. Loyalty, as we know, is completely different. It's not going to be the way it is. Already it is changing. People have 15 loyalty programs, and even in competing categories. So loyalty is, again, totally needs to be reimagined. So my point is, marketing is entering its fifth paradigm. And the way you will succeed is when you reinvent marketing into a completely different new format. And that's what is quantum marketing. So what is quantum physics to physics? Quantum marketing is to marketing. And so in this book, I question everything about the existing marketing strategies and philosophies and concepts and put them literally on their head and said, this is going to be now the new playbook for the imminent future. So I'm very excited. I sort of, gathered a lot of experience over these last 3.5 decades that I've been working. I did a lot of study, research myself, and I talked to a lot of my peers, CMOs and professors, etc. And I feel very good of the output of this book. And, I hope a lot of people will be able to read it and enjoy it and gain from it truly. And thank God, initially the feedback that I'm getting from my peers has been nothing but outstanding. And just for cheap thrills, I had to give one quote that I received from the CMO of General Mills, the company which makes all of cereals. So he said, Ivan Pollard, that this book will do to your view of marketing what Copernicus's book did to our view of the world. It'll change it forever. Now, I cannot expect a bigger compliment from one of my peers than this, and it's along these lines that the biggest and the best CMOs have all been complimenting the book, and the professors from Harvard Business School in Yale. So I feel very grateful and blessed for the kind of feedback I'm getting. And the book is due out for release on the 9th of February. And as you said, it is available on Amazon and a whole bunch of other online stores for pre-ordering. And so hopefully your viewers will go and get a book.
Absolutely. I mean, to the viewers out there, right, in a lot of ways, you're going to understand this technology better than the marketers in your organization. You're going to understand IoT. You're going to understand AI, right? And I think that it's going to be your job to help educate, as a leader, educate, your marketing team and staff to get there, right? And I think this book will most certainly help you do so. It'll definitely help reshape your thoughts around where marketing, is leading. And I think that everyone plays a role in the success of their company. So I'm so excited to read it. The last thing I want to say before we end here today is I think I had one of my coolest, most memorable experiences with a brand when I was actually at the All-Star game in Cincinnati, the baseball game. And I was standing next to my dad, who unfortunately this past September passed of liver cancer. But he and I were standing next to each other, and he had just recently been diagnosed. And we both stood for cancer with his name on that paper. And I think that when I look back at what is data and what is experience and what are, all of these things we're talking about that are complex, what do they lead to? It's that one moment, right? How does your data, how does your decision, how does it lead to the moment that, is that powerful, right? And I think what's really unique is that it doesn't always have to be a wholesale shift change. It doesn't have to be something monumental, right? It can be as simple as, if you think about marketing moving forward, you made it so simple that I held a piece of paper next to someone that I loved with their name on it. There's nothing in life. I mean, that's kindergarten type stuff, right? That's not crazy and that's not wild. And so I just think, one, I know that was from your brain. So thank you, and your team's brain. So I appreciate it, because that was a pretty cool memory to look back on, a cool picture to have. So with that said, thank you for joining me today. And for everybody, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Very much. Really appreciate it. And thank you for sharing that example. It's so deeply touching. And that's exactly what the priceless approach is all about. And I'm really glad, if it touches even one person's heart, the objective of the campaign is met. And it's not just campaign for the sake of a campaign, but a campaign to truly touch the hearts and minds of people, and to really make some sort of difference. And specifically on the cancer, allow me to say this one single thing. Thanks to this program and the amazing work that Stand Up to Cancer Foundation does, who is our partner for this whole effort, they have already discovered 7 drugs which have been approved by FDA for treatment of cancer. So it's not just only getting the emotion into people, but it's also getting the results on the back end. And that's what I feel very grateful. And I feel very blessed to have a team that's equally inspired and passionate about this whole cause. So thank you very much for sharing. Thank you very much for having me on this, what you call show, so to speak. And wonderful meeting you. Thank you so very much. And all of you, please stay well and be well. Thank you.